Hello, it's Jim Hutchens for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report for this week. As you look at the news today, there are many hot spots, many crises all across the world. As I come to you today, I see that there's possibly another 72-hour ceasefire that will take place between Israel and Hamas. I hope that this ceasefire business that's off and on will ultimately just be ignored by Israel, and Israel will go in and dismantle, destroy, defeat the Hamas leadership. That's the only way that this will be solved. Negotiations come after victory. Negotiations don't come after a ceasefire. It settles nothing. But then there are other crises across the world. There's a crisis in Iraq. ISIS is attempting to enlarge its borders to establish a caliphate, an Islamic state, and at the same time they're threatening the massacre of thousands of Christians and Yazidis. These are it's a religious minority group made up of those who have elements of Islam and Christianity in their faith. They're on top of this mountain. We've sent humanitarian efforts to sustain them, food, water. They'll have to be taken down from that mountaintop sometime, and whether we can or whether we will help in that, it remains to be seen. Then, of course, there's the Ebola crisis in West Africa. Hundreds, thousands now, it looks like, are dying from that. We have 2 Americans that have been brought back to the U.S. for treatment. As one observer said, it appears that there is a collapse of world order, a demise of it, a deterioration of world order. And I think that's true. And I think from a biblical standpoint, that's exactly what the scriptures imply. That's what they teach concerning the events leading up to, just prior to the Lord's return. There is an event that's taking place that's getting some notice, but I think it has the possibility of biblical relevance to us, and that's what's going on in the Ukraine. As we speak, the Ukrainian army has surrounded one of its easternmost cities, Donetsk, and there are separatists, Ukrainian separatists, who are sympathizers with Russia, and Russia's sympathized with them, that have taken siege of this town, and supposedly they're up for a ceasefire as well. We'll have to wait and see. Russia could take this thing over if they wanted to. And it is President Putin's desire to reestablish the glory of the Soviet Union, to bring back in those countries that were a part of the Soviet Union years ago. And interestingly enough, President Putin has, along with the Russian Orthodox Archbishop, have said we must help the Christians. That's a new wrinkle, but they're speaking of the Christians that are in Iraq. How can they help them? We'll see how that turns out. But I say that Ukraine is significant because it is in the geographical area, the region, if you will, where the nations that rise up against Israel will come from. Ezekiel 38 and 39, Gog, Magog, Meshech, Tubal, and the other nations that are in that general area are the ones that bring about a confederation, a joint attempt to destroy Israel. And that leads to the Lord's intervention, his return. Now, Jesus said this about his return. I think this is important. Matthew 24, verse 36, no one knows, Jesus said, no one knows the day or the hour when he's coming. We don't know the day, we don't know the hour. But I would suggest to you that there is a biblical timetable that's given to us that would tell us, it would tell us the year and the season, possibly even the month, when the Lord would return. Now, if somebody says they know the day and the hour, dismiss them. They're wackos. They don't know. That's what Jesus said. But there is a timetable that is given to us in Daniel chapter 9. And I want to turn to that because I think that's significant as far as our understanding of the days in which we live, and certainly the end times. There's a world ruler that's referred to in Daniel 9:27. It says, he will confirm a covenant, a treaty, an agreement with many for 1 7-year period. He'll confirm this. Matter of fact, he'll reinforce it. He doesn't make it, but he strengthens it. He reinforces it. And in the middle of that 7-year period, he will put an end to the sacrifice and offering. That implies that there is a temple that will exist, that will be, the Jewish sacrifices and offerings will be offered. And he puts an end to it, and 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 tells us that he sets himself up in this temple and calls for the worship that's ultimately reserved only for God. He sets up this abomination of desolation, and on the wing of the temple, he does this until the end that is decreed is poured out on him. Now I say this because that's the day, that's the time that it starts. The countdown starts when that covenant is made. And it's not 7 years later is when we can look for the Lord's return. And we can look for it, I'm persuaded, and so are many others, that it will be around the fall feasts and festivals of Rosh Hashanah or trumpets, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles. It'll be in that season. So we might be able to tell the month that the closer that it gets. Now I say that because there's something that Daniel refers to that will likely be in existence before this timetable starts. And he refers to it in Daniel chapter 7. It's a dream that he has in chapter 7, verse 8 and verse 24. Verse 8, he says, while I was thinking about the horns, there's 10 horns that represent 10 kingdoms. While I was thinking about the horns, there before me was a little horn, which came up among them, and three of the first kingdoms were uprooted before it. So there'll be a 3-nation confederation that is uprooted. As a matter of fact, the word that is used is subdued in Daniel 7:24. It said the 10 horns are the 10 kings who will come from who emerge at this time. After them, another king will arise different from the earlier ones. He will subdue 3 kings, and he will speak against the Most High, oppress the saints, and try to change the set times and the laws. The saints will be handed over to him for a time, times, and half a time. For 3.5 years, the saints, God's people, will be handed over to this one who is actually the Antichrist. But we know from elsewhere that the coming of Jesus rescues those saints. But I say this because the Ukraine is in this general locale of those nations that will come against Israel in the end times. And it could very well be that Russia would be heading that up, and that the Ukraine could be uprooted, subdued by the Russians. We'll just have to wait and see. But it does have the possibility of biblical relevance for us this day. This in closing, the book of Amos, the prophet Amos says in Amos chapter 3 and verse 7, surely Yahweh does nothing without revealing his plans to his servants, the prophets. The prophets of God, the servants of God, will know what's coming. If you know Jesus, if you know God, you'll know what's coming. You can count on it. Till next week, Od Kiyevo Shiloh, until Messiah comes, Yivaraka Yahweh. God bless you.